we will work something out. So that's enough for that announcement. So Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do in the Destiny community?
Sure. Lately, I've taken a little bit of a backseat role as my schedule's been ramping up, but I'm one of the co-hosts on the Destiny Lorecast over at, well, we don't have a Twitch page, unfortunately, but at Destiny Lorecast. So there's 3 hosts right now, or 4 hosts, but one of us is on a indefinite hiatus. We've got Purple Chimera, me, and Anon Pig. I'm also a very, very part-time writer and contributor to PlanetDestiny.com, although I haven't put up many articles lately, again, due to my schedule. And then I stream a little bit myself over on Twitch. So it's a big bundle of crud that I do every day.
Purple.
Hey, I'm Purple Chimera, and I write the summaries at ishtar-collective.net. I'm the lead archivist there. I co-host their brand new podcast that just had their first episode launched this morning. And also, like Mythos Mike mentioned, I'm a co-host at the Destiny Lorecast.
Sweet, thank you. I will definitely check that podcast out. It's called the Ishtar Collective?
Yeah, Ishtar Collective, you can find it on our website, ishtar-collective.net, on SoundCloud, and any of your favorite podcast apps. We're on iTunes, and we're being reviewed by Google Play, so hopefully we'll be up in the next couple days with there.
Sweet, thank you. You guys heard it here first. Go check out that podcast. All right, guys, so let's move on to our new segment. Let's talk about the patch notes and update 2.5.0. So, first up, the general spot. So, new quests are available in the tower from Eva Levante, Amanda Holliday, and Commander Zavala. A new record book is available offering new rewards for the winter season, and that record book is free. Just want to make that clear. They fixed an issue where some players did not receive the Student of History trophy / achievement or sigil of the Young Wolf emblem for attuning all of the Rise of Iron artifacts. I was a victim of that. I still did not receive my achievement, which is weird. They also fixed an issue where some players were unable to complete the Echoes of the Past quest activities. Sparrow Racing has returned. 2 new tracks have been added to the 2 returning from last year. Bounties and quests are available from Amanda Holliday. SRL license quest progress has been reset and new rewards have been added. SRL reputation has been reset to 0. Players can now obtain a Treasure of the Dawning from Amanda Holliday at rank 5. Crucible bounties and Jolly Holiday quests can no longer be completed in Sparrow Racing. Strikes in the Siva Crisis playlist, Siva Crisis Heroic playlist, and Weekly Nightfall now award medals and feature team scoring. They also reduced effects on incoming damage done to Guardians. Outgoing damage by Guardians is unchanged. Forge offerings will be more likely to drop with the combatant type to match the Iron Lord bounties in the player's inventory. Reduced shields for bosses and perfected Shank offerings. So those are some of the patch notes from, that's the general spot from update 2.5.0. What are your thoughts on that? Let's start off with you, Plasmic.
I heard one of the things I want to talk about immediately is that Crucible bounties and Jolly Holiday can't be completed in SRL anymore. I was never aware of the fact that was the thing you could do. I guess it kind of goes in hand with how you could complete the Jolly Holiday quests while having the last word equipped, but not necessarily using it, so the percentage would rack up. So I guess it kind of works like that, but only with your Sparrow, because you still have your weapons equipped on your Guardian, but your hands are always on your Sparrow. So I thought that was an interesting thing for them to note that was updated. Crucible bounties, I was one of the people, or few of the several thousands of people who completed regular Crucible bounties inside of Sparrow Racing. Very happy that strikes have included scoring. It gives strikes a new purpose for me. Now it's like, I want to see if I can get the high score. You know how when Prison of Elders came back, for the April update, there were scores, and then Bungie, after every weekly update, will have I forgot what the segment was called, but there would be lists of Guardians who got the highest score. And now I don't know if they'll do that for strikes, but it makes me think of that again. It's a revamped activity that has a little bit more meaning for me to do, because before I never really did strikes before, but now there's a little bit more of a reason besides the new loot that was added for me to do things. So I look forward to that. I'm very happy that I lost my train of thought. Oh,
It's all right.
the Treasure of the Dawning, that's what it's called. I'm very happy that you actually get something after reaching rank 5 from her. I haven't reached rank 5 in SRL yet, so I was gonna ask if anyone in here had, and that if you're able to get multiple, or is it just that one Treasure of the Dawning? Does anybody know, real quick? Just ask that question.
I'm pretty sure it's just rank 5.
All right.
Okay, just rank 5, yeah.
But
Okay.
it seems that the SRL rank doesn't cap at 5. Like, Iron
Oh, it
Banner
doesn't.
caps at 5. It just goes on forever, like any of the other ranks.
Yeah, I have
Vanguard
one
rep or
friend who's
whatever.
rank 7, but I didn't ask him about the Treasure of the Dawning thing. I don't know why. But yeah, he's rank 7, so that's weird. Wonder if it's like that's getting off topic. But I'm very happy that you actually get something for reaching rank 5, unlike a certain Iron Banner activity that we all participate in nowadays. So I'm happy to see that my time that I do have is actually investing it into SRL is actually being rewarded. So that's what I like from this update.
Mike, your thoughts on this so far? So far, the patch notes?
I actually haven't had a chance to play too much of SRL quite yet, just because of finals. But the reward system, like you was saying, the reward system, I've been very impressed by it. It's been revamped a lot since the last time we came around to SRL. The fact that you can get leveled loot, I've seen people playing at level 400, light level 400, and they're getting light level 400 gear from this event. I think is a very welcome change. Even if you're not there just for the SRL loot, you can almost use this as an end game. You can use this as an end game activity during the time that it's going to be here. So I've actually ranked up a few light levels. I'm actually not at 400 on my character yet, so it's been that fact alone that this is being considered an end game activity is a very welcome change for me. I actually have got the chance to do a little bit of the strike scoring as well, and it's a very interesting system. I love how it kind of challenges you to maybe go outside your comfort zone with either the weapons that you use or the styles that you use them to play. So in order to get the rainbow medals, you need to have 3 primary kills in rapid succession, 3 secondary kills in rapid succession, and 3 heavy kills in rapid succession. I'm normally the type of guy that saves all my heavy ammo until the very end of so where I kill the boss. So it's been a very interesting very, very interesting for me to have to adapt to include that into my playstyle. So I'm a big fan of the strike scoring so far. I really hope it stays around after this event ends. So I'm liking the Dawning so far.
Yes, I actually think it is going to stay around after the Dawning. I don't want to confirm anything, but I believe it is. Yeah. All right, so Plasmic, next up in update 2.5.0.
All right, the next thing that's up is the collection. So the Circuit and Momentum SRL racing gear sets have been added to the holiday collections for players who have earned these items already. Circuit and Momentum racing gear obtained from the collection has light and can be infused. So it's not it's more along the lines of how the Taken armor was around the April update. It can be infused. Class items have light and perks and require legendary marks to purchase. The Ghost and Deviled Ghost have been added to the holiday collection for players who have obtained the items already. And players can pay legendary marks to repurchase these items with random stats and perks. 2 new emotes, which we've received, which are free. The Woe There and the Proposal can be withdrawn by everyone from the emote collection down by where Zer would be, down in the hangar. In the little crib area. I'm not sure what to call it, but down there near the emote collection.
It's the tower bar.
For free.
It's basically the tower bar.
Some of the vendors have changed, well, what they sell anyway. Zer sells exotic shards once again. He no longer sells ornaments, though. There is now a separate kiosk for that. There is also the amount of heavy ammo that he sells has also been changed. I believe it was 5 before. It is now 10 for 3 strange coins. So it's more of like how it was before, which is kind of strange because they adjusted it before to decrease the amount he gave you, and now they're increasing the amount he gave you. So I wonder if there's any unseen not perks, but unseen changes to the amount of reputation heavy ammo gives you to your faction.
Yeah, I think it was actually 3 before, right? You would give, right? It was 3 heavy synths you were able to buy from him.
I'm not quite sure.
It was either 3
Yeah.
or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, but now I'm happy it's increased to 10 now, so that's good. So Eververse has a new stock of items. I just want to say that the DG emote, I will always call that the DG emote. I want that emote. I want the, what is it? It's called the sneezing. It looks like the dab. I want that emote and the tiny dance.
The graceful sneeze, yes.
Yeah, the graceful sneeze. Those 3 emotes I really want to buy.
My favorite thing about emotes is that they try so hard to not name them what they clearly are.
Yeah. My favorite one was the Hotline Blink dance, and they named it, I think it was called the Awkward Dance, right? Is it called the Awkward? I know it was just something funny.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. All right. So, Treasures of the Dawnings are now available and contain new sparrows, ornaments, horns, armor, and consumables. Players can receive 1 free Treasures of the Dawning each week by completing their weekly heroic strike. Completing a Dawning set from the Treasures of the Dawning on 1 class will grant the EV53 Glimmer Gold Sparrow and the Sun Glow Shader. 9 nude winter emotes are available for sale for the winter season. For the winter season, Rise of Iron's fall emotes have been added to the direct purchase emote rotation on Eververse. Did you guys like the new emotes? I don't have any of them yet, but I really want the red death emote. It's the white one. Plasmic, your thoughts on the new ornaments? I say emotes.
I think you mean ornaments, yeah.
I cannot
think you
believe I
mean
say
ornaments.
emotes.
I
Yeah,
am
I
in
meant to say
love
ornaments.
with the Thorn ornaments. Let me tell you, I don't use Thorn, but I took it out the other day just so I could get good with it. So when I do get a Thorn ornament, it'll be ready for me to use because I love what they've done. They actually updated. I think it was either one or both of Thorn's ornaments so that it looks different now, and I think they did a really good job with that. Sad to say, I can't say the same thing with the Last Word. It's one of my favorite guns. Actually, the exotic I use most of the time. I forgot what the second ornament on it was called, but it's the blue one. The blue one that looks black and blue, kind of like a dark blue, kind of like a black texture to it. And the first one, which makes it look kind of dusty. I think that's harkening back when there was no tower and things were a bit rougher. I think that's what the Last Word may have looked like originally. Maybe that's just a thought of mine. Because back in the day, things used to be a little bit wild. So I think that's what it was harkening back to. I think that's what they were trying to go there with how it was looking. I wasn't too enthused by it, so I didn't really care. And Black Spindle, I used to use that sniper a lot before I got my Steel Piercer on my Hunter. So I'm very glad to see that it got some love, and both of its ornaments are beautiful. Those are the ornaments that I'm enamored by right now. The other ones, I don't really care about. The Red Death one does look nice, the white one with all the bones on it. And the blood, not bones, but blood and spikes on it. That looks very nice. Fits the Red Death motif. So I'm very impressed with the ornaments that they have for the most part.
Yeah. Purple, your thoughts on the new ornamenting gear?
Well, I think all of them are so fun. I just love the idea of ornaments in general. The fact that you can really customize the way that your gun looks. So even if you were in a party where everyone was using the Last Word, they might look different because you could put different ornaments on them. And I just think that's really cool. I think it's great that Bungie has tried to make people who are at endgame be able to look different. Because I don't know if you remember in year 1, everybody looked the same if you were endgame.
Oh yeah.
And it was really boring. So everything that they put in that allows someone at endgame to look different just makes me so excited.
I agree. Yeah, I'm enjoying the new ornaments and the new gear. Oh, I just love it. This game has come a long way. This game came a long way. Mike, your thoughts on the new ornaments and gear?
I actually haven't had the chance to look at a lot of the ornaments. I do agree with Plasmic, though. The new Thorn ornaments are just absolutely stunning. It gives the gun a little more of a dark edge to it, even though it already looks. Ugh, it's a freaky weapon. The weapons of sorrows are not the nicest looking things, but I'm a big fan of both of those ornaments, and then the others that were released. I haven't had the chance to actually look at the icebreaker ones yet, but I've heard really good things about those. So I really want to get an icebreaker to drop for me, or just pick it up from the console. But I'll figure that out eventually. So yeah, along with the armor, actually, the SRL armor that was re-released was. It always surprises me how basic it looks. It's very unpolished, not unpolished, but very. It's very simple. It's not like very grand armor. So like the Warlock armor is almost bare bones. It's it's very different than the trench coat styles than you see everywhere else. So it's it gives a very different look than what I'm used to. And I definitely agree with what Purple says. The very fact that endgame players can look different, unlike back when we were in Crota's End and everyone had the same sets of armor from the Crota's End because you couldn't infuse anything. I really like that new change with the game.
Yeah. I'm just really excited about the new armor, the new gear, and I cannot wait to see what's coming in 2017. But we'll talk about that later. Plasmic, next for the economy.
All right, will do. The Silver Dust Store. A new Silver Dust Store has been added to the tower. It's a collection that can be found in the tower between Eververse and the Postmaster. This collection sells a selection of past season items for direct purchase for Silver Dust, including exotic ornaments and things like the treasures. The Silver Dust cost to apply exotic weapon ornaments has been removed, because before, if you ever noticed, it used to cost like 1 or 2 silver dust to equip the ornament once you got it, but that has been removed. Silver dust has been removed from Radiant Treasure, so you will no longer get it from those, but still may be obtained from dismantling exotic weapon ornaments.
All right, I think that's pretty. I'm actually happy about the new kiosks there, but I don't know. You guys have any thoughts on that? Purple?
I haven't really interacted with it yet, so I don't. I mean, I like the idea that you can buy. The biggest excitement to me about the weapon ornaments, as far as purchasing them, is that you can actually purchase the ones you want now, instead of
Waiting for
just
Xur,
hoping for something to drop and
Yeah.
buying 400 treasures and then not getting any, and people spending so much money. So if there's one that you really, really, really want, you can just go buy it, which is nice.
Now, I have a serious question. It's probably a noob question, but are there any exotic armor ornaments? No, right?
Well, sort of.
I'm just
So
okay, yeah.
not ones that you can just buy in the store. All the armor, and I might, this is as far as I know, off the top of my head, but as far as I can remember, the way that the ornaments work on armor is that's the end game stuff. So for example, in Trials of Osiris, when you play Trials, you get the chance of armor dropping, right? So if you
Yeah.
see someone in the tower wearing Trials of Osiris gear, you're like, oh, that person plays Trials of Osiris. But you can only get the ornaments for the armor from the treasure chest at the lighthouse.
Correct.
So if you see someone wearing Trials armor that has the ornaments activated, then you're like, that person has been to the lighthouse. It's like a mark of rite of passage kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like no exotic armor has ornaments, right?
Right.
Okay. So it's just like the raid set, the trial set, the Days of Iron. Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
let's move on. Plasmic, the rest of the economy one.
All right. The free weekly Radiant Treasure has been moved to the first weekly PvP match completion. It will no longer be strikes that you attain Radiant Treasures from. for the first week anyway, for the first one in your week. Characters who are now level 40 will green engrams will now automatically convert into weapon and armor materials on pickup. So they will no longer clutter your inventory and block you
Yay.
from getting that sweet loot you want. Yes.
Thank you.
Class items obtained from Queen's Wrath will now Queen's Wrath packages now correctly display their stats. They fixed an issue where Year 3 faction class items were not properly contributing to faction-specific quests. So that refers to that quest once you hit level 25 with any faction. There was a bug where you had to wear the Year 2 class item for that, and if you didn't, well, you couldn't complete the quest. And a lot of people didn't have it anymore because Year 3 started, and so they were now the vendors were now selling the Year 3 versions of their class items. So now they fixed that, and you are now able to continue on your exotic class item quest. And the last thing is players can now purchase Wormspore from the Vanguard Quartermaster, and Brother Vance now offers material exchange for passage coins and motes of light, and he will take your motes of light and he will convert those into passage coins, and vice versa. It's for every mote of light you get, that's 1 passage coin, but for every, I think it's 2 or 3 passage coins you have, it'll get you 1 mote of light.
Yep. I'm actually happy with these economy changes. Long overdue, but I'm happy. Mike, your thing for the economy. Wow, I just had a brain fart there.
If I hadn't had my mic muted, you would have heard me clapping basically to the automatically converting uncommon engrams. That was a very, very welcome change to that.
Thank you.
Very, very happy with that change. It's not exactly annoying to have to go through every single one of them, but I mean, it prevents you from learning on the spot exactly what engram, like blue or purple or exotic engram you're picking up. Instead, you have to go back to your postmaster and do it that way. So hopefully it will help those many, many people out there that are having the problem of not being able to clean out their postmaster until 3 months after they get the item in the first place. So for those individuals, it's very, very... it's a very good thing in that case. I was a little bit surprised to see some updates for Petra, actually. Her packages have become a little less relevant as we continuously further getting away from House of Wolves. Exactly. Yeah. So I was a little surprised to see her content get a little bit of an update with this economy patch. I've gotten drops from her because of, there's certain things that you do within the Wreath that gets her rep, and so I've gotten rep from her before. And they're like under-leveled items from year 1, so it's very, very useless from what I've seen.
She has new armor also that came in Rise of Iron. Like the new armor that she has looks sweet, but I just don't want to go inside Prison of Elders or go kill Taken or something to rank her up. So I haven't gotten a full armor set of that.
It takes a while to rank her up from what I've seen anyways. It takes a couple of weeks at least if you play at my pace.
Purple, your thoughts on the economy change?
I mean, yes, I'm excited about the green engrams. I think everybody is. Passage coins, I think the green engrams and the passage coins are the most important things as far as directly making everybody's lives better. And as far as the Queen's Wrath, it is kind of an interesting move because no one goes to the Reef anymore, or they hadn't until this week. I don't know if you've even spawned into the Reef in the last couple of months, right? If it's not trials, if it's not the weekend, then no one is there. But it's kind of an interesting move, and it makes me wonder if they're just trying to make the Reef relevant again because people were not going there, or if they're trying to remind us that it's there for something in the future. Like maybe one of the new upcoming expansions is about the Queen, which would be exciting. I'm totally speculating, though. I don't know.
I could see them bringing back the Queen's Wrath because, like I said, they created new gear for Petra in those packages. So, and now they're making it easier for us to rank her up. So I just feel like a Queen's Wrath event is coming in the future, maybe in February. That could come with Crimson Doubles. I don't know. Again, I'm just speculating along with Purple.
That would be
So,
fun
yeah.
though.
Yeah, a PvP, because we've seen a PvE event and a PvP event collide with the Dawning. So hopefully in the future they keep doing things like that until the sequel.
Yes.
All right. So next up is Skeleton Keys have been adjusted. Thank you. Skeleton Keys drop rates have been slightly increased in the Siva Crisis playlist, the Siva Crisis Heroic playlist, and the weekly Nightfall activities. Players will now receive a Skeleton Key for their first account Nightfall clear per week. Subclass quest class items can now be repurchased from the speaker once earned. Legendary weapons obtained from the Gunsmith's Ring 2 quest can now be repurchased from the Gunsmith. I just want to say thank you for increasing the drop rates on Skeleton Keys, and you're guaranteed a Skeleton Key for your first account Nightfall. That is awesome. Thank you. So your thoughts on that, Plasmic?
Oh, I'm so happy that they boosted the Siva. I mean, not the Siva. The Skeleton Key drop rate. I can't quite remember how much it was boosted by, or if it was even mentioned. But it was so bad that if I didn't get the Thorn quest as soon as I did after Rise of Iron came out, I wouldn't have been able to complete it at any other point in time. Rise of Iron's been out for about like 4 months now, correct? It's been about 4 months, 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, October.
I've only had 2. I've only had 2 Skeleton Key fragments. Well, not Skeleton Key fragments, but Skeleton Keys. And with the Dawning, I just got my 3rd one and my 4th one because I got 2. I got one from completing a strike at the very end. So I'm very glad to see that has been boosted because it brought back a little bit of the grind to play strikes, to have that chance to get that Skeleton Key. I mean, it brought back a little bit of that year 1 feel of, grind. We all know how grindy year 1 was. You had to go to different planets to get different materials. It was so bad. But it brought back a little bit of that grind, but in a bad way, because you could do. I remember I sat down at 30 strikes, didn't get a single Skeleton Key. It was ridiculous. And that, in large part, is what made me stop wanting to do strikes, because all the gear that I had, I'm not max light, I'm 395. I'm not max light, but I would like to get some loot from strikes, or at least some strike specific loot. It would be torturous to finish a strike completely and then see that gold little chest spawn and then be like, oh, that's awesome. I'll never get what's on the inside of it though, because I don't have a Skeleton Key. Which is another thing I was bewildered by, because as we all know before, Skeleton Keys were put into the game. After you killed the boss, then you had a chance for that boss to drop its strike-specific loot. I was wondering why they don't do that anymore, because as we all know, Skeleton Keys are there for you to, 100%, you will get a strike-specific something from that strike. It might not be the weapon you want, or it might not be the modern part you want, but you'll get something from that strike if you have a Skeleton Key. And to me, it just seemed like the bosses aren't dropping their strike-specific loot anymore. So I'm very happy to see the increase, or the spike, in the drop rate of the Skeleton Keys.
Yeah, I'm just really happy that Skeleton Keys have been increased. Purple, your thoughts on this?
I really feel like this entire patch is just Bungie trying to fix everything that they messed up this year. And they really did a pretty good job, I think, of changing all the rates, allowing us to, fixing all the things that they messed up with Festival of the Lost. And this is a really great update.
Yeah. It seems like every update, they keep improving and improving, which is good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so moving right along, Crucible maps fixed an issue where players could become stuck in Vex geometry on the Burning Shrine. Game types added the ability for players to wave off heavy ammo if everyone in the match does the wave emo in the first 30 seconds of a round. Fixed an issue where the end of round countdown could play twice if round tied in elimination. Inferno Rift and Inferno Zone Control modes added to private matches. Supremacy score to win is now 120. I wonder why they decreased it from 150. I actually like that at 150. I seem like the matches are going to go even faster now, right? Do you guys feel that way, Plasmic?
I think it was there's a lot of groaning and moaning about how Supremacy is literally the shotgun playlist. If you don't have a shotgun, don't go play Supremacy. So I think it was just there to kind of make it a little less punishing if you don't have a good shotgun in Supremacy. That's me. That's just what I think.
Purple, do you like Supremacy?
To be honest, I don't play all that much PvP. I've been playing for approximately like a month. So it's all pretty new to me and a little bit overwhelming, and I spend a lot of time dead. So, but my guess would be that Bungie's just trying to respond to the community and make people happy. That's what this patch seems to be. I mean, that's what the wave off heavy thing, if you don't know, that came directly from a community generated thing. I don't know who started that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but someone in the community started that. They were like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this round without heavy? And we as a community came up with this signal to wave off the heavy, and now it's in the game. Like, we made that happen, which is really cool as a community member to think that like we have the power to change this game. It's not just Bungie doing whatever they want to do.
Even though they create this game, it's still our game too. Like, they listen to us because there's only 700 people playing at their place, and it's like millions of us in the community. They're going to listen to us, guys. They will. Just don't yell at them or send tweets after tweet after tweet saying buff primaries or something like that. Just don't be annoying.
Be constructive.
Yeah, they listen. Trust me, they do. All right, so moving right along, Rumble Supremacy score to win is now 40. Supremacy Mercy spread is now 20-60, down from 30-90. Slight reduction of super energy gain in Supremacy modes. Playlist. Icarus has been removed from the Rift playlist. See, I'm not on PS4. I play on Xbox One. So how is Icarus in Rift? Because clearly it was an issue since they had to remove it. Purple, do you play on PS4?
I do, but I really don't know. Like I said, I'm pretty new.
That's right.
So I have no idea. I'm sorry. I'm not that helpful.
It's all right. All right. Next, the record book fixed an issue where Supremacy mode variants were not counting towards record book completion. I did not think that was a glitch. I thought that was in the game for a reason, but clearly it was a glitch. Bounties. Iron Banner Bounty, Iron Banner Marathon now correctly awards 10 points for a win instead of 15. Iron Banner Bounty Iron Support no longer credits you with assists that any nearby player earns. Wow, did not know that happened. That's how I completed that so fast. Fixed an issue where the highest score Crucible Bounty did not work in Supremacy. Lord Shaxx no longer requires players to complete the mountaintop before offering his weekly Crucible Bounty reward. Just want to say that should have been added a long time ago, because that mountaintop quest is so long. Plasmic, you know how long that mountaintop quest is.
It was worth having the name Mountaintop. You had to climb a mountain of parts and steps of that quest to get to the very top to get his bounties. I'm a little upset that they took that away now, because now nobody will know the pain that I suffered. But I guess it's
I know, right?
for the better.
Yeah. All right. Next up is increase the drop rate for Trials of Osiris vanity items. Fixed an issue where the Trials of Osiris shader, the Devoted, was not obtainable. Increased the drop rate for Iron Banner vanity items and artifacts. Completing a daily feature Crucible activity now rewards 3 passage coins. They increased it from 1. Completing a weekly featured Crucible activity now rewards 3 passage coins up to 3 times per week. Fixed an issue where the Crucible Sparrow S39 Light Rider was not available through Crucible Reputation packages. So now this is my favorite part that I'm about to read of my Crucible patch notes thing. Added vanity items and ghost shells to Crucible PGCR drops. Ghost, the Crimson Shell, Sugary Shell, Emblem, the Crimson Crest, Shaders, the Rose Bright, and Valentine. Added select year 2 Crucible legendary weapons back to core PGCR drops. The Red Spectre, NL Shadow, the Ash Factory, Ias Luna, and Party Crasher +1. Now, before I hand over the mic to you guys, I'm actually happy that they added Ias Luna back into the year 3 playlist, because I had to go to the year 2 playlist just to get a Party Crasher or get an Ias Luna. So I'm happy that it's back, and it's also dropping an SRL. So that's also good. Plasmic, your thoughts on this?
I'm a little sad and worried about the fact that the Crimson Crest emblem and the all the items and loot drops that were associated with Crimson Doubles are now being moved into the Crucible now, because it makes me worried about the future of Crimson Doubles, which, as we know, or as if you don't know, is my favorite live event that happened, and I look forward to it. And I don't know if it's going to happen now, especially because of this. It makes me feel like, since they're adding this loot back to, since they're adding that loot to what's currently available in the loot tables, it makes me feel like either they're planning something new for Crimson Doubles and giving us a new loot for Crimson Doubles, or they don't have any plans for it, so they decide to just go ahead and put that loot that was virtually untouchable for a whole year and put it in there so everybody else can get it. So I'm worried about that as far as Crimson Doubles is concerned. Glad that the Sparrow issue Light Rider wasn't available, because I like the way that Sparrow looked, and I couldn't get it, but now I can because that issue's been fixed. I haven't had any issues with the Trials of Osiris shader that are devoted, simply because I haven't gone flawless in year 3 yet. I'm glad that they started to fix the balance of passage coins and the Crucible bounties, but it's a little late now with the advent of Brother Vance selling passage coins. Since he can now sell them to you, it kind of makes that seem all moot. It makes him wonder why would they even bother with that to begin with. I'm glad that the Trials of Osiris vanity items have been buffed, because before you would just get most light or like some random blue. So it's nice that you're getting more items from Trials of Osiris now. I'm not sure if that's either where you win or you lose, but because it's not specific. It just says that drop rates have been increased. But if it's for both, that's great. To see the year 2 Crucible weapons back, specifically Ash Factory, Ias Luna, and Party Crasher +1, I'm a little skeptical of seeing those weapons back because of how well they dominated Crucible in year 2, especially Ias Luna and Party Crasher. The Ash Factory wasn't really viable because it took forever to fire and reload. Well, not reload. It took forever to fire and could basically fire only once a Crucible game. So it wasn't too bad of an issue. But Ias Lunas and Party Crashers, I just recently got a disgusting Party Crasher from SRL of all places, and so I'm kind of, but the advent of shotguns and how snipers have been adjusted, it makes me worried, because now there's just more shotguns for people to use. But besides that, I don't. The Iron Marathon bounty and the Iron Support bounty.
Oh, I was just gonna say something.
I had no idea that if somebody in not your fire team, but in your game that was on your team, got a kill and you helped them with the kill, I had no idea that it affected that bounty, because I believe the bounty is only for those that are in your fire team, correct?
It just says nearby players. I don't know.
Okay, I meant the bounty itself, but I had no idea that affected it. I had no idea that affected it. The Iron Bounty Marathon, it was clearly broken, but it's nice. It was nice while it was broken.
I actually did not notice that it was broken. I didn't. But I just want to go back.
Broken.
I just want to go back to what you said about the Crimson Doubles. I actually never thought about maybe they're not going to bring back Crimson Doubles, since they added all that gear and the emblem and the shell back into the Crucible. But I hope that means that they're going to change it or work on something else to bring with it. Like hopefully they bring another PvE event, or maybe if it's not Crimson Doubles, bring in a PvP event. I want to shoot my weapon, not race a Sparrow. I'm not saying Sparrow racing is bad, but we'll get to my thoughts on that later. But I just want something focused on the Crucible and a PvE event coming with the Valentine's update. So yeah.
Yeah, like I
Mike.
said, it's a
Yeah.
very good possibility that they could be bringing it back, but there's still, since they're adding that loot to the table now, there's that unhesitant feeling that they might not be bringing it back, because it wasn't as Crimson Doubles wasn't ever as big as SRL or Festival of the Lost. Festival of the Lost had its own quest line, and so did SRL. But Crimson Doubles did not, I believe. I can't remember if it did or not, but I believe it did not have its own quest line. And even when it was an event, it only had like 4 or 5 bounties. I have 2 of the major bounties still on my character, so I hope that it is still a thing that's happening. So I hope that it is still a thing that's going to be around come February.
Yeah. All right. Mike, your thoughts on them adding all these legendary drops back into the Crucible?
See, I actually don't know too much about the NL Shadow. The Red Spectre was always a gun that I liked using when I needed an incredibly inaccurate auto rifle. Ash Factory is obviously infamous for its maxed out blast radius rating. Very good in PvE. I'm very fond of it because if I want to clear out a smaller group of enemies, it's very good for that. The only weapon on this list I really had a problem with them adding back in is Party Crasher. Like Plasmic was saying, shotguns are the king of the Crucible right now, especially with Titans in their both their Titan skating and what is that called? The ability for strikers to run with a shield in front of them as they sprint. Thank you, Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Shotguns are in a little bit of a bad place right now. Of course, they're almost always in a bad place. So adding another shotgun of this archetype back into the game just to make it more common for people to be able to receive it is just a little bit of an unwelcome change for me. Beyond that, the rest of the item changes I like, especially the adding back in the Crimson Shell. That was I did like the Crimson Shell back in the last year's February update, so it's good to see that back and alive again.
Yeah. All right. So, moving right along, let's read the Grimoire card fixes. Plasmic, you're up.
Will do. Some of the Grimoire card fixes were they fixed an issue where the Ephrodite Grimoire card was not awarded upon viewing the Iron Banner Ephrodite cinematic. I was a victim of this error here because while I was looking up Grimoire for us to go over this week, I noticed that I did not have the Ephrodite Grimoire card, but I did have a Grimoire card referencing Ephrodite, and so I did get to see that in action. Another one is, if you already viewed the cinematic, the card will be awarded upon entering orbit. So if you didn't get it then, when you looked at it, once you load up Destiny again after the patch, you got the Grimoire card automatically, which I did. They also fixed an issue where the Beauty and Destruction Grimoire card was not being rewarded for completing the Beauty and Destruction questline, which is the questline for receiving the Gjallarhorn, building it back again.
All right.
There was a host of others, but we're going to move on to something else now.
Yeah, just because of time. So if you want to read any more of the patch notes, just go to the Bungie.net site. All the patch notes are there if you just want to see them for yourself. So now, we talked about update 2.5.0. Oh, I love saying that. We talked about that patch notes. So now let's talk about the Dawning itself. Let's talk about the new activities. Let's talk about SRL, the 3 revamped strikes, which I'm excited about. So yeah, so SRL. It's back. It's better than last year. I did not enjoy SRL last year. I played a total of about maybe 10 matches and then I quit. I did not like Sparrow Racing. I don't know why I was just so negative about SRL last year, but I'm really enjoying it this year. I love all 4 maps. The Earth map is cool except for that forklift. We should all know that forklift. I hate that forklift. And I have friends that keep telling me, oh, I don't even know what forklift you're talking about. I'm like, how do you not see that forklift once you make a turn towards the end of the map? There's a forklift right there.
I haven't hit it actually, but I do
Really?
hit on the spinning thing, like the 3 pillars that rotate.
Don't
I
even get
hit
me
those every
started
freaking
on
time.
that. And then it's like when you go too fast, you blow up as soon as you hit it. So then,
Yes,
okay.
every
I
time.
hate that. So, Purple, what are your thoughts on SRL this year?
Well, I'm pretty excited about it. I love the new maps. They're super fun. I think that if you read the Grimoire cards for the maps,
Ooh.
they and if you don't have them, you can go to ishtar-collective.net and read all of them and any Grimoire cards you haven't gotten because you can read them all. They're all there. Anyway, shameless plug. They're really fun. They're written really well. And in fact, if you compare them to the Grimoire cards of the maps from last year, they're pretty generic. Last year's maps are like, this is a map. It's on a place. You race sparrows on it, essentially. And these ones are like fun. They're like, quotes from Cade, like, who left this forklift here? So it's obvious. that the
Really?
people yeah. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
Great. Oh, I hate that forklift. So you do that. Mike, your thoughts on this year's SRL?
I'm going to sound absolutely horrible for saying this, but I have actually never been a fan of SRL. I don't know, it's probably just because I don't have any skill in it. I finish 5th almost every single time I played it. In fact, I played it about 10 times today, and I finished 4th once, 5th 7 times, and 6th twice. Have not finished in the top 3 since this new thing has come around. So it's just very... Sparrows are very... not sure how to put it.
It's not like shooting the man in the face.
No.
It's not like shooting an enemy. It's,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like last year, I was like, I bought a shooter, not a racing game. I don't want to race sparrows. I want to shoot someone in the face in the Crucible or an enemy. So that's how I was last year. But this year, I jumped into a match, came in first place my first game, and then after that, I've just been enjoying it a lot. I think it's the maps this time around. I'm just enjoying it a lot more, like the 2 new maps except the forklift. Other than that, I'm enjoying the maps a lot. And the gear that's dropping, I could go play SRL and get an IS Luna. And I really want the 4 emblems. I've yet to get any of the emblems that drop from the maps, so I really want an emblem. But I'm enjoying it.
The
Oh, yeah.
Hakun Precipice card. It says, there's a quote from Cade 6 that says, "Hey, who left this forklift in the middle of the track?" And then the text is, "The steep mountain pass known as Hakun Precipice was once used by some of the more thrill-seeking Iron Lords. Red Jacks have cleared brush and dug through avalanches to make the track passable again, but the increased activity has attracted the attention of the Devil Splicers. Expect some speed bumps."
Wow. I actually like that card. I need to go read that.
Yeah,
But that
and-
forklift line from Cade is perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Plasmic, your thoughts on this year's SRL? Ooh.
As you know, Jay, already, I was right there in the same boat with you. I did not like SRL for anything. I didn't think it was too terrible, but it felt like I was playing Destiny. I got a first-person shooter. There's space magic. I'm shooting Nova bombs, self-resing, coming back from the dead, blade dancing, and all of a sudden there's Mario Kart inside of my Destiny. That's exactly how I felt. And I'm not very good at Mario Kart, or at that point in time, I was not very good at Mario Kart. I'm a lot better now. So I did not like it. It felt like an abrupt. It felt like how you play like a stealth game, or no, how you can play a hack and slash game, run through it, and you think the whole game's gonna be like that. Then out of nowhere, they throw in like this stealth section where you're not supposed to kill anybody. You're supposed to be silent the entire time. That's what it felt like. It felt like an abrupt end to what I was used to in Destiny. It was a welcome change of pace, I guess, in the sense that I could see that they weren't afraid to try new things, even inside a first-person shooter. I mean, how many other first-person shooters do you see with like go-kart racing? Like, really?
That's true.
You don't see Call of Duty. You don't see a number of other first-person shooters that I don't play. But you get the point. They were willing to go out of their comfort zone because they were like, hey, nobody else is doing this. I wonder if our fan base will like it. And there were people who liked it, and there were people who didn't like it. Obviously, the others that did like it were in the majority because we got it again. Either that or it was just another opportunity to get more money from microtransactions. But now, how it's implemented now, I like it a lot. Last year we had it's Infinite Descent, I believe, the one that has the spinning turbines that always kill you in year two when we first got the 2 maps. Those turbines are still there. It wasn't
It's the
Infinite
Mars
Descent.
map. It's the Mars
Camp
one.
Camp Martius
Yeah.
or some things like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Those things will still kill you, though. I've been going pretty fast running into them, and I haven't blown up yet, but they still will destroy your progress. Another thing that I'm not very fond of in SRL is how you can drive through a gate, or how it looks like your Sparrow is going through a gate, but you won't get the speed boost. This was a problem in year 2, and this is also still a problem in year 3. So I hope we are going to keep SRL once the event passes. I believe it's going to be allowed in private matches, but I do hope that they fix that, because there will be times when you can click the left analog or the right bumper or left bumper to jet your Sparrow side to side or whatever, and you do that. Once you master that, you can get down to driving an SRL really well. But when you do that to try and go inside of a boost gauge, sometimes it won't work. Or even when you're just trying to aim your Sparrow into the boost gauge and all of your Sparrow gets through, or most of it, and it still doesn't give you the boost, and then it slows you down. But those are my major gripes with it. I love the loot that's dropping from it. I love the fact that you can get all types of loot while doing SRL, not just SRL specific loot. Like I said, I got my God Roll Party Crasher from SRL, which was completely unexpected. So I like that. And a thing that I noticed that not a lot of people may have noticed is that the year 2 decorations, I guess you could say, the year 2 design of the SRL armor, if you get the SRL ornaments and you put them on the SRL ornaments, you put them on the SRL armor you have now. Can't speak tonight. You put them on the armor you have now. They're actually just colored versions of the year 2 Spell Racing League armor.
Yeah,
So,
that's all it does. It's just change the color.
Yeah, and it changes it to the year 2 pattern of it. But what is worth noting, the armor and perks that you got in year 2, you can't get in year 1. I mean, in year 3 now. Like the helmet for the hunters, I believe. If you while you're in the air and you hold your analog stick forward, it would actually make you fall faster or descent faster while you were in the air. No armor that, to my knowledge, drops with that anymore. So the people who played SRL in year 2 have an advantage over the people who play in year 3. So I like that. They let the people who have seniority over the others and who decide to play SRL have an advantage over the others who weren't there or didn't want to or didn't care for it. So I like that they did that. But SRL now is tons of fun. Love the loot. Keep it up, Bungie.
Yeah, about going back to that helmet perk, I don't know if that perk still drops. Someone will let us know if it does. I don't want to confirm or deny anything just yet. But yeah, SRL is here for the next 3 weeks. Well, it's here forever, but the whole live event is here for the next 3 weeks. So go inside SRL, get your loot. It's fun for some people. And then, of course, yeah. So now, which strike do you guys like the most? We have Omnigo is back, which is actually a pain sometimes. That would be a pain in the Nightfall with Arcburn in that room, right, guys? That would be a pain. Plasmic, you know
yes.
what I'm talking about. That would be a pain.
So Omnigul does arc. She spawns wizards that shoot arc blasts, acolytes. They don't shoot arc, they shoot
and
void.
Then
Acolytes
there's an ogre
void,
that
and you got
spawns in
ogres.
there.
Yeah. There's 2 ogres
That would
actually.
be a
No,
pain.
3. There's one that spawns through the door, and there's one that spawns on the right side, and then there's one that spawns where the knight would be.
And the regular one. Yeah.
And then there's one that would spawn with the knight would be on the right side in that little area cave thing. So there's 3 ogres that spawn. It's terrible.
So we have Omnigo, we have the Nexus, and we have Taniks. 3 strikes. So, Purple, let's start off with you. Which strike do you enjoy the most now? Well, which 3 newly revamped strike you like the most?
He's actually away for a second, but I can answer that if you
sorry.
like.
Yep, sure. Go. Sorry about that.
Let's see. Out of the 3 revamped strikes, I actually haven't been able to try them all. I haven't gotten them to get around in the rotation for me yet. But I did like the new and improved Tanix strike. Not improved; it was always good. But the Tanix strike was very enjoyable for me. The fact that it's a little more challenging this time around, just because the splicers are a little harder to kill than the original Fallen were. But the Tannic Strike is a lot of fun, and I appreciated it from the start. So it's been fun to go. It was fun to go through that with a couple of guys that I know really well. So I really like the Tannic Strike, and I'm looking forward to see what the Omnigul Strike presents.
I have yet to play the Tanix. I've only played the Nexus and Omnigul, but hopefully, maybe tonight I'll go play Tanix. Cosmic, your thoughts on the new strikes? Well, new/old strikes.
I have yet to play what's it called? Tanix. I have yet to play Tanix, so I can't offer any opinions for that. Haven't gotten it in the rotation. I've been playing strikes like crazy so that I could get it, but haven't gotten it. Not in my RNG, I guess. But for the Nexus, I'm so stoked that they made the Nexus come back. That was my favorite strike of year 1, 2, even though it wasn't relevant in year 2. I still went back to play it as a guilty pleasure, and now I get to see it come back in year 3 and have it be relevant again, and have strike specific loot to boot. The only thing that as a matter of fact, when I did the Nightfall, because it is the revamped Nexus strike is the Nightfall. When I did it, I got my first skeleton key for it, and I immediately opened the chest so I could see what was on the inside, and I got a Titan mark. I'm not sure if that's the only thing that drops from that strike that's specific to that strike, but if it is, it's not a bad looking Titan mark. It's one of the few Titan marks I think that actually hang in the front instead of the side. It looks really cool. It's like a Tarzan loincloth, but with like Vex markings on it. It looks really nice. I like it. I like the mechanic that was brought into that strike, because in any other strike, if you've noticed, there's not really mechanics per se. It's just kind of run around and shoot the boss. I'm not sure about the revamped Tannic strike, so I can't speak on that, but I know in the Nexus it takes the Vault of Glass aspect. The Vault of Glass mechanics, which is the Shield of Aegis, which is what you use to block damage when you DPS Atheon, and it helps you recharge your super really quickly. And you need that to shoot the Nexus, which is just like the Templar fight. You get the shield, charge the super, shoot the boss with it, and then you do DPS on it. Do enough DPS, shield will come back on, so on and so forth. It's nice to see mechanics be brought into strikes, because for the most part, most strikes there aren't really any mechanics. Even in the new Omnigul fight, there's no new mechanics. But this one does, and I like it. It shows a lot more with it, a lot more interesting, a lot more engaging on the creative page there. Or abilities outside the Vault of Glass, but that's for another topic. Another time.
That actually brings us to a question that I do have. So, Mike, do you think we are going to see the old raids return in a future update since they brought back these strikes?
That's a very interesting question. It's actually been posed to a friend of mine that I play with regularly. I do think that it's important to note that would take a lot of more effort than we think it would in the first place. And here goes my dog again. So
right.
First it would take updating the light levels, and I think it would also almost require that we've been seeing a lot from the fact that Bungie is updating the enemies in these old strikes, and it almost seems appropriate that they would have to lore-wise or canonically update the enemies to make it make more sense, to give a reason why story-wise that I think it would take a lot more effort than we would realize at first. So I personally do not see them doing that within the future.
All right, because I was just seeing a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Omnigul's returning, but her only purpose is to usher in the Crota's return or something like that, right?"
Mhm.
And
That
then,
is.
yeah. Oh
Mhm.
no, I was just gonna say, and then I did see this awesome conversation between Pig and my name is Bife, and I forgot. I think it was Pig or Bife. I don't know, but one of them did say that since I it was Pig, okay, but I believe he said that since Crota was killed in his throne world, he cannot come back to life, right?
No.
Because
Right.
yeah, all right,
He's
but anything is possible. Yeah.
it's I personally do not see it happening. The only boss or the only raid that I could see returning is Atheon, just because we don't really truly understand exactly what the Vex are able to do, exactly what their potential is within the Vault of Glass. So there could be some way that they retcon Atheon back into coming.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but there's I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that there is a way, but suddenly they
Sorry.
Doug.
But I was just thinking, like, maybe if we do go back to Crota's End, it's not going to be Crota. It could be,
Right.
what
It
is
could
that
be-
god that everyone was saying? It was Oryx's
Thalnok.
left hand? No, it was
Wait,
Oryx
not
right
Thalnok?
here. It was Norcus, right? Or Norc
Oh, Nokris.
Nokris, yeah.
Nokris.
It could be him. Or, because
It could be anyone.
just-
It could be someone we haven't
yeah.
met yet.
that is true. Because I'm just like, they picked 3 strikes. Omnigul, Tanyx, and the Nexus. Why those 3 strikes, right?
Do you want to
They-
get
they
into it, or do you want to move on to the pre-chosen lore topic?
Okay, let's get into it. For a little, time is not my friend right now, but we have to get into this. All right, so go Purple.
Okay, so for and you briefly mentioned the conversation that a non-pig was having with Bife on Twitter,
Yes.
which is a hard place to have a conversation like this. Basically, if you haven't read the Books of Sorrow, go to ishtar-collective.net and read them, because we put them in order, in chronological order, so you can just read next. It makes it much easier. It gives you an overall of the hive, and it will make a lot more sense what I'm about to say. So basically, the hive, high-ranking hive, not any random thrall, but high-ranking hive have throne worlds where they actually are. So what you fight when we meet Crota at the end of the Dark Below storyline, not the raid, just the regular quests. When you defeat Oryx in the Regicide mission, you're just defeating their shadow in the real world. You don't defeat them actually. You kill their shadow, they go back to their throne world, they regen, then they just come back. That's how they
Yes.
keep coming back and more. So we have to go into Crota's throne world, into Oryx's throne world, to actually kill them for real. So what a non-pig's theory and what most people's theories are about Omnigul is that she's high enough ranking hive that she also has a throne world. But we didn't go to her throne world. We just killed her on Earth where she was. Now, it was her mission to summon in Crota, but Crota's dead. So the way the hive work in general is you just rank up, right? Thrall grow. Each kind of hive grows into the bigger kind of hive, and they go up the ranks. So she's just going to usher in the new Crota, whoever steps in to fill that space. And if you read some of the grimoire about Oryx and his connection with Toland the Shattered, when we killed Oryx in the Taken King raid, there is a grimoire card, and I'm not going to take the time to look it up right now because I can't remember exactly what
I
it's
know
called.
what you're talking
but
about.
um,
I'm sorry to
it's
cut
a
you off.
letter. It's on
But,
Ishtar Collective.
yeah.
There is a section called Messages from Toland, and it's in there. Anyway, it's a bunch of cards that are written by Toland, and they basically say, at the one you get after the raid says essentially like, okay, well, you killed Oryx, so the way that the hive work, if you kill the hive, that if you're a hive and you kill the hive that's above you, you are obviously stronger than them, so you take their place, right? You move up in the ranks. So if we come in and kill Oryx, that means we're stronger than Oryx, so by the sword logic, you'd take that place. You are now the Taken King. But we didn't do that. We killed Oryx and then we just left. So there's this big power void, and that made Toland really uncomfortable. So what's going to happen next? I don't know, but I think that this revamped Omnigul Strike is the precursor to whatever is going to happen. I'm not saying that will happen in the next expansion, but sometime down the line.
I never thought about that. Like Toland, well, I did like a long, long time ago, but maybe Toland can take the throne of the Hive, right? Is that possible?
It could be. So the thing about Toland is we don't know where he is. There are lots of theories. The most common theory is that, when you go to the Dreadnought and there's that little light that shows you which way to go?
Yes.
Most common theory is that is Toland.
I heard also a theory that was the Queen, but I don't know what I was reading on Reddit. I don't know what I was reading on Reddit.
I mean, it could be, but we know that Toland was a member of the first Crota fire team, right? Eris's fire team. And if you read the stories in those cards, Toland and Eris, obviously, are the only two that we don't have death stories about. We don't know. We presume that Toland is dead. The Tower presumes. Let me change that. The Tower and the Vanguard presume that Toland is dead because he went down into, Crota's End, and until Eris, no one had come back. So they just assumed that they were all dead, and it turns out they were pretty much right. Except we don't know. We don't have a card that says Toland died this way. So maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he became Ascendant. And that's what the little light is, because he's in the Ascendant world. In which case, he could take fill the power void from Oryx. And that would be really scary. Someone with the knowledge and skill of a Guardian wielding the power of the Taken King.
This is true. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
This also begs a question, if I may interject.
Sure, go.
So, do we in the strike what's the strike called? I can't remember the strike because I never call strikes by their name. I call them by the boss that we fight there. The Darkblade, Alak Hol. He was quoted by Eris Morn to be a contender for the throne of Oryx, and if he was left unchecked, he would have taken Oryx's throne. And as we have just stated, high-ranking high-ranking Hive have their own throne worlds. We went in and we killed Alak Hol. Yes, and he was chained down. Well, not chained. He was stuck down there in that prison. And Eris Morn said he was awaiting the quote-unquote mercy of the Hive, so they were going to do something to him. Since he was a contender of the throne, I guess it's common knowledge or common sense to assume, or you're able to assume that he would have his own throne world, and he's high-ranking. You can't just contend with Oryx and not be considered a powerful Hive.
Right.
In logic, just thinking. So if that's a thing, and he didn't die in his throne world, we just killed him there in that prison so that he wouldn't be a contender to the throne, because Eris said we need to kill him. And then afterwards, she said, may his soul return or go screaming in between the pit, between the pit of the stars, something of that along the lines of that. So is it possible that Alak Hol could come back? Since he doesn't, I don't believe Hive are subject to have to come back to where they died, correct? They can just reappear.
Anyway,
Yeah, so he's dead now. He's not stuck in the prison. So could he come back?
Sure.
And take the throne since he was able to contend with it in the first place?
Sure. I mean, he could definitely come and fight for it. If you look at the Taken King raid from a lore perspective, each step of the raid, each encounter is a fight to prove yourself worthy to get to the next step. It's not just like Bungie's like, here, have this encounter, then have this encounter. It's actually you are performing a ritual of allowing yourself to pass. That's why you have things like the war priest deems you worthy, right? He deems you worthy to go on to the next section. So if now with the this gets kind of weird. We don't know where the throne worlds are because Alakul was in a prison. It's possible, and this is kind of stretching it, but it's possible that he was imprisoned in his own throne world because he fought Oryx and lost, and so Oryx was like, I'm going to lock you right here until I have time to deal with you, and then I'll kill you, because obviously the Hive know how to kill themselves. So that's possible, but it's possible that he's not. It's possible that the Sunless Cell was just a physical prison, and that when we killed him, he went back. That essentially freed him. He went back to his throne world, and now he's waiting until it's the right time to come back. So maybe that's the person we have to fight in the next Hive expansion. Maybe that's who Omnigul is ushering back in.
It would make sense because we just left him unchecked. And also another high-ranking thrall, high-ranking Hive. I'm going to get so much flack for that. Another high-ranking Hive that we obviously did not kill in the throne world, but was always near Crota. He was following Crota, which was Thalnok, which is whom I thought Jay was talking about in the beginning when he was describing Oryx's left hand. I didn't let him finish, so I didn't get to hear that. He was basically mini Crota. He was. Right. If you've ever did the Court of Oryx and you did the forgot what rune it was. It was the purple. It was the legendary rune. If you ever done that rune, and if it was his week for rotation, then Thalnok would appear, and you would have a mini reenactment of the Crota fight. So could he be considered an ascended Hive?
Yeah, he absolutely is. All the members of the court, everyone we fought in Court of Oryx, is a high-ranking ascendant Hive. So technically, it could be any of those people. But I would guess if I had to choose, I would say Alakul or Thalnok. I mean, Thalnok is kind of the obvious choice because he was the mini Crota, and that was everyone's first thought when this was announced. Like, oh, obviously. But then we were like, well, maybe it could be. Alakul makes more sense because we know that he tried to take the king's mantle.
How about I don't know the guy's name from, I said guy, the boss name from the Blighted Chalice. I was just thinking him because didn't he try to take the throne? Malik, yeah. Didn't he try to take the throne from Oryx? Or, well, try to not take the throne from him, but become the Taken King. Right?
It sounded like, before she answers, it sounded like while Eris was describing him, she described him as dutiful Malak. So it doesn't sound like he was someone who tried to usurp. And also, he was known as Prince Malak as well. So it sounds like he was within the royal family. As we know, Oryx had 3 kids? He had his 2 daughters.
He had a bunch of kids. But we know
he had a bunch of kids? Okay. Well, 3 that we've killed. Hashtag. There's no. Okay, I can't hashtag that. I'm not gonna hashtag that. That's terrible. But we killed all of his children. We killed all of his main family children, and Prince. He was Malak was referred to as Prince. So he's obviously royal. He's royal somewhere. You got Crota, which is the son of Oryx. I don't think he was. So, I don't think he was called Prince Crota, but you get the point I'm making.
So I don't know how into Hive lore you are, so forgive me if I'm over explaining, but Oryx had 2 sisters, Savathun and Jivu Arath, and Savathun got the gift of cunning. I'm really shorthanding the Books of Sorrow. Please go read them. And so Savathun got the gift of cunning, and she tries to use secrets and undermining and undermining each other. So Malak, or Malik, or however you want to say it, was actually created by Savathun to infiltrate Oryx's group of Hive and steal tithing from him. The way Hive work is the Thrall are the base most basic model. And when they kill, they gain energy, and then they pay a tithe to the acolytes, and the acolytes pay tithe to the knights, and the knights pay tithe to the wizards, and it goes up and up and up. So by the time you get to Oryx, he's getting tithing from all across the universe, wherever there are hive that he controls that are descendant from him. And that's the same as Savathun has the same system. Xivu-Arath has the same system. So Savathun actually created Malak to infiltrate Oryx's tithing system and steal tithing from him and give it to Savathun. But instead of doing that, Malak hid from Savathun and kept the tithings for himself. So neither Oryx nor Savathun got the tithing. And then he grew bigger and bigger until he turned into a knight. And then Oryx discovered him and took him, capital T. Then Malak tried to seize the power after we killed Oryx, and there was a power vacancy. And then we killed him. If that makes sense.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, it makes
Yes,
sense. It's just
it does.
that there's so much like just this lore. You gotta theorize. This is because there are basic rules that we know about the hive, and we've discussed Throne Worlds and how any high ranking hive can have that, but that just leaves so many different possibilities for the hive to fill that space. But the most interesting one by far would be Toland, as he was often deemed, a little cuckoo. So, and when people think he's dead to begin with, he's obviously he's not dead. Well, not obviously. We have journal entries of him, so he's doing something.
It's hard
somewhere.
to be dead and also send messages.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
do that. So he has no interest in coming back. He, obviously, if he wanted to come back, would have been like, "Hey guys, Eris wasn't the only one who died. I got some hive secrets I want to tell you. This is how you do this." Obviously he has no intention of coming back, or else he would have done it already. So the more interesting, but not probable, I guess, or it could be probable, would be that Toland would fill the throne, because it's just sitting there empty, and no one's taken it yet. So,
Well, that
That we
actually
know
brings
of.
me
Yeah,
to
that we
my
know of.
question of I was just thinking, because in Rise of Iron in the last mission, they actually made quote unquote guardians the boss that we fight, 3 of them. So I could see them bringing Toland in as a raid boss, because they tried it out in Rise of Iron. So I could see them trying it out in the future, right? I'm just thinking from
Are you
a
referring
developer
to
point.
Siva reanimating
Yes,
the,
if it was Felwinter, Yolder,
and Yolder and
and
someone?
Gillian. I don't.
Galleon, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So I could see them doing that again in the future with Toland.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that it's on the table. Whether it will happen or not, who knows? But we have 7 years to go, so we'll see what
Hopefully.
happens. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic.
It's alright. But yeah, if I don't see it happening in the current state of this game in Destiny 1, but I could see it happening. I could see it happening in the sequel, right? Because I think they're done with this game right now. But
Well, sure. I mean, I'm sure that they're focusing most of their energy on developing Destiny 2.
correct. Yeah. All right. Wow. Lots of dawning talk. Before we move on, Mike, do you have anything to say? Before we move on to our next segment.
Nope, not really. Whenever Chimera's around, it's kind of hard to add on to what she has to say, because she covered pretty much everything I would say about that. So nothing.
All right. So let's move on to weekly activities. So this week's Nightfall is the Nexus. That hasn't been a Nightfall in about 2 years, maybe? About 2 years, right, Plasmic?
yeah, roughly about 2 years. Yeah,
And it's
about around the
fun.
time the House of Wolves
Yeah.
became irrelevant.
I love the strike scoring system in the Nightfall. I love the timer. I love Zavala's weekly bounties. I did not receive an icebreaker yet. Purple, did you receive an icebreaker?
No.
Mike, you?
Not yet.
Yeah. I completed the Nightfall on all 3 of my characters. did not receive an icebreaker. But there's always next week. So yeah. What are your thoughts on Zavala's new bounties and the new scoring system in the Nightfall? Start off with you, Mike.
Like I was mentioning earlier, I really do like the I really do like the scoring. It really gives a new element to strikes that we haven't really seen before. Obviously, it's been a system in place since Challenge of the Elders, but I really like seeing it in strikes. It adds a really new, fun element to it. It, like I said earlier, it really challenges you to use your abilities in new ways that you really might not have done so before if you're looking for the medals specifically. It's also not competitive. It's all team-based, which is another element that I like. So, you're not going to be looking for, hey, I got first place, hey, I got second place. It's, we need to get so many points to get the gold rank, the silver rank, or the bronze rank. So it ties into the aspect that strikes are supposed to be competitive, and I really like that about it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm starting to see teams clear out the rooms of kill all the ads now. Even in some areas where some strikes are in patrol zones, I see people killing all the ads in the patrol zone, even though they keep respawning because you get points from that. Just keep killing them. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the scoring system. I like it a lot, and it's starting to make strikes fun again. Plasmic, your thoughts on this week's Nightfall and the strike scoring?
I've kind of already stated what I had to say about strikes, but I'll say it again. I like the fact that it's redesigned content, especially with the mechanic of the strike and the Aegis shield and how it's there. It's basically a Templar fight, but without the Templar teleporting everywhere. I like that they gave us something we were familiar with, but added a new twist with it, and that the fact that it was involved in a strike. So it shows that they can entertain us with things that we already have or we're familiar with, and they can add something new to it, so we can still be entertained with it. The strike system, the score system, gives you something to strive for. And just when you do a strike, you're like, oh, what are you doing, dude? You don't have to kill those ads. Now it's like, dude, you better kill those ads. We need to get points. We're trying to get rainbows, man. You better kill those ads, or you better let me kill those ads. It's something that you got something to look forward to at the end of the strike, instead of just, I need to go through the strike, see if I get a skeleton key, open the chest. Now there's bounties for completing the strikes in the most optimal way you can. And I agree with what was said about how it's a team effort, and it forces you to play in a different playstyle than you would have in your own conventional playstyle. It forces you to mix it up. In order to get a rainbow, you got to get 3 kills with a heavy primary and a secondary consecutively, and the time window for it is actually pretty forgiving. As long as you don't break the order, I believe. I was messing around with it today, and I waited 30 seconds, and it still was open to me as long as I got a kill with either of those, and I didn't break away. I didn't get 3 kills on my primary, then stop, then pull out my primary again, then get 3 more kills. It would break it if that was the case. But I like how it forces you to do different things, as was stated earlier.
Yep. Purple, your thoughts?
Well, I just think that it's so great that you really have 2 options of how to play strikes now. And you have 2 different playlists. So if you want to just speed run like we've been doing forever and jump through this, as fast as you can, then go into the regular queue. But if you want to play this new way, then you do this queue. And I think that's really great, because sometimes I feel like racing through as fast as I can, and sometimes I felt like I didn't. And if I wanted to not race through before, I had to find 2 friends to play with me, because if I got queued in with a random person, then they were racing through the strike and I was trying to do the whole thing because if I wanted to, and then they're getting mad at me why are you way back there? So I think it's really nice, and it's fun to do something different. I'm really excited that Nightfalls are relevant again. I had fun, even though, year 1 Nightfalls were a terror, but it was still really, really challenging, and then they just made them completely not even worth, like, I haven't played a Nightfall in forever. And so the fact that I get rewarded for doing them now is really cool, and makes them relevant. So I think it's good to keep us occupied until they can release something new.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying the Nightfalls. Well, so far, the Nightfalls are starting to become relevant again. I love the new Nexus strike. That was always my favorite strike. It's an awesome strike. So, I think that's enough Nightfall talk right now. Let's move on to the Trials of Osiris. Let's just talk about that for a little bit. Then we'll move into Iron Banner and then the lore. So, Trials of Osiris last weekend, the map was Shores of Time. I believe that was the first time that was ever a Trials map. I don't want to confirm anything, but I believe so. Plasmic, that's right. Right? It was the first time. Was it
It's the
Trials
first
map?
time I'd played Trials on Shores of Time. I've been
Yeah,
playing since
it was
day
the first
one.
time I've played Trials.
First time I played
on that
Trials on there.
map. Yeah. I played Elimination on there, but that's it. Mike, do you play Trials?
I actually haven't in year 3. I probably went flawless about eight to 10 times since it was released in year 1. So no, I don't really go into Trials all that often. Mostly because I don't really have a lot of people that I know that are able to go flawless, which is always my goal. So it's not something I've done in about probably 6 months now.
Yeah, Trials is fun when you have like a set team to go in with. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You need both communication and familiarity and skill. Need a combination of all three, I think. And having a team that you're both friends with and know the call outs that you like to use, know the different strategies that they mesh together well with their play styles. There's a friend of mine that's a competitive player for Call of Duty that I play Trials with every once in a while, but he's taking a hiatus from Trials in the moment, so it's hard to find. So I have not had the chance, unfortunately, to play Trials in recent months.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna read some quick stats that Destiny Trials report gave to me, and then we can move on. So last weekend, the top secondary weapons used in Trials. First up is, of course, the Matador 64 with almost 3 million kills and used by 117,000 Guardians. Next up is the Longbow, coming in at 1 million kills and used by 55,000 Guardians. Look at that gap right there between 3 million and 1 million. That's crazy.
It's huge.
Yeah, the Matador is a very popular shotgun right now. But I will say this, we are getting a weapons balance update soon. Cosmo did put out something in the Bungie Weekly Update that I forgot to include in the show notes. But it wasn't in the weekly update, it was just on the forums. But we're definitely going to get a patch soon.
Better
So
fix
next-
strip mines.
Subclass tuning, yes. So next up is the 1,000-yard stare, coming in again at 1 million kills and used by 49,000 Guardians. Next is the Wingward, coming in at 594,000, used by 25,000 Guardians. And then lastly is the Party Crasher, 584,000 kills and 28,000 Guardians. So look like snipers were pretty popular last week, which is a good thing. But still, the Matador 64 is very popular. Plasmic, your thoughts on this?
Sounds like typical Destiny to me. I've been playing since year 1, and shotguns, especially since in year 1 they had double the range they had now. So I don't get as salty if I get shotgun now because I know they don't have a shot package anymore. I'm glad to see that people are starting to use snipers a little bit more. A little less glad that it's longbow, but a little bit more glad that it's not 1,000 yards there. So I'm feeling different. It's something that I'd expect from the Trials of Osiris. You use really good weapons. So the Matador is an unstoppable beast. Since the universal remote, it's not even up there. It wasn't even mentioned. So you got that 75% range reduction to it. So it's not really a viable PvP option anymore. Well, it's viable. It's just not as great as it used to be anymore.
Yeah.
So it just sounds like typical Trials of Osiris to me.
Yeah, every week when we read these stats, it's always the same weapons up there. Always the same weapons. But it's whatever. All right. So next is going to be the primary weapons used. First is the Clever Dragon, again coming in at 3 million kills and used by 132,000 Guardians. So it looked like a lot of people were using their primaries last week, which is good. Well, except for Matador. They should just make the Matador primary. Everyone uses it, right? It should just count as a primary now.
The one legendary shotgun that can be a primary.
Yes, people are using it like it's a primary. Might as well just be a primary. No, God, no. I'm joking. Please, no. Then is the Mida Multi-Tool coming in at 1 million kills and used by 86,000 Guardians. Next is the Last Word coming in at 1 million kills again, 67,000 Guardians. Then the Palindrome, which is an awesome hand cannon. I'm starting to love it. Coming in at 729,000 kills, used by 51,000 Guardians. Then No Land Beyond coming in at 716,000 kills and used by 46,000 Guardians. So again, Plasmic, your thoughts on this?
I just want to say, all you palindrome users out there, your palindrome will never be last word. Okay, but anyway, that aside, Shade Throne, again, sounds like typical Crucible. Well, typical Cryptic Dragon over the flurry of Clever Dragons, which I'm surprised, because I definitely saw Clever Dragon while playing Trials last week. I saw it a lot.
That was the first thing I said.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah, it came in at
Thought
around 3 million.
Okay, it must have cut out because I didn't hear you say that. So I take that back. But it sounds like typical Trials. I mean, I'm not really sure what to say. All of these statistics sounds like exactly what I would expect. No Land Beyond's a little surprising to those who don't use it, but I was actually giving it a try after hearing its stats, how well it performed last weekend, and I took it into private matchmaking and played with a friend who was also very good at sniping. He destroyed me. He went 20-7, and I went 7-20. But No Land Beyond is a really, really good sniper. You just have to get past the bolt action it has whenever it fires, and you got to get the council reloading. But it's very good for quick scoping, which is like a super important thing in Trials. Helps those really clutch moments. I can see why it wasn't used over things like Longbow, because there's no bolt action built into it. It doesn't take up an exotic slot or a primary slot, but it's No Land Beyond is for those who are really good at sniping. Also, it's not able to res snipe unless it has the master perk running. If the master perk is not running, it won't res snipe. But it can super snipe. At least it can snipe a Blade Dancer. So I did it.
Yeah.
But if light level advantage, that was without light level advantages. If light level advantages are enabled, then I'm not sure. But besides No Land, not really. I come to expect this. I play a lot of Trials.
All right. So I think that's enough Crucible talk and weekly activities talk for this week. Now to move on to the main part of our show that we wanted to get to. Let's talk about the major battles of the city, such as Six Fronts and Twilight Gap. So first, we're going to talk about Six Fronts for a little. We're going to talk about the Grimoire cards, the Steady Age. Then we're going to go into the House of Devils, and then the Battle of Six Fronts summary, and then the Mark of Six Fronts, Mark of Defender, and the Mark of Solitaire. Am I saying that right?
I think it's Sortie.
Sortie? Wow, I was way off. All right.
Okay.
So, Plasmic, I just want to say, before we start off with the Six Fronts, what do you know about the Battle of Six Fronts? Without reading everything.
Without reading the Grimoire?
Yes.
I'm pretty dusty on the Battle of Six Fronts. I do know that, I believe Osiris was there, was he not? I know that it was a mainly Titan thing, but wasn't Osiris there during the Battle of Six Fronts? Yes. I know that he was there for that. Zavala, Shaxx were there to take part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, the Battle of Six Fronts was when the wall was under attack, correct? that the wall that the Titans built? Like I said, I'm not super great with my Battle of Six
Pretty much
Front
the
story.
first major time the city was attacked.
Yep.
The Fallen mounted their first major coordinated offensive, and for some people, it marks the beginning of the City Age when the Orders of Titans were able to hold 6 fronts from the Fallen and repel the attack decisively. So it's pretty much the beginning point of our story, I would like to say. Almost the beginning point of our story.
Okay,
Yep.
so was it Twilight Gap, or was it Six Fronts where Zavala and Shax had a argument? Because I
We
remember
will see.
they don't like
as we
too many.
read.
They don't like each other too tight. Okay,
That is 6 fronts.
Oh,
that is Six Fronts.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Or my apologies. That is
Wait,
Twilight
no.
Gap. Twilight
It
Gap. That is Twilight Gap.
Oh, yeah.
My apologies.
It's all right. All right. So, first card I will read is the City Age. When did the City Age begin? Perhaps when the bulk of the world's survivors lived beneath the Traveler rather than in the wilderness, or when the Titans raised the first wall, or at Six Fronts when the city first faced coordinated, overwhelming attack and repelled it decisively. The city did not rise without struggle. Warlords and wilderness fiefdoms, I probably said that wrong, oh well, clung to power. Starvation, disease, and anarchy menaced. But the Guardians held the frontier, and the children of the Golden Age kept the fire burning through the long climb back. Legends walk through this history. The Iron Lords, Saint 14's crusade against the fallen, the mask of the Speaker, the great Ahamkara hunt, Toland's madness, terrible faction wars, and the horrifying, desperate effort to retake the moon. As the city learned to walk again, it found a world overrun by alien menace. It faced the disaster and defeat. Even in recent years, as Guardians begin to venture back to the moon and the inner planets, the city's territory has withdrawn. Outer sections abandoned and converted into fortifications. Oh my god, I cannot speak tonight. In the wake of the Battle of Twilight Gap. But the city's shipwrights and foundries hum with energy. The probability cleanse, and the work cooperatives produce new wonders. The darkness is rising again, but so is the light. Plasmic.
All right, next
House of
level.
Devils.
The devils take whatever nature has yet to claim, Master Rahul, or Rahul. These are the scourge of the city, the shadow below our walls. This is the house that led the battle at Twilight Gap, the house we tell our children about to frighten them into behaving. The House of Devils have now devoted great strength to pillaging the Cosmodrome in Old Russia, hunting for something buried below. If they are not held in check, whatever they find might prove the city's undoing. Next, I'll also read the Battle of Six Fronts. This was the first battle to take place at the city, so named because of the 6 approaches that led to the city. Evidence suggests that the majority of the defenses was led by Titans, and many Titan marks and pieces of armor memorialize the event. A number of the Guardians that defended the city during this period are referred to as the Lords of Iron. Osiris was also present at the Battle of Six Fronts, and his actions at this battle contributed to his appointment as Vanguard.
All right. So now I think because of time, let's move into the Battle of Twilight Gap summary, and then we'll read the Twilight Gap card, and then we'll just talk about it. All right. So purple.
She's actually away again, unfortunately.
It's okay.
Just the way,
all
I'll
right.
go ahead and read it. I'll go
sure.
ahead and go over the summary. Battle in the recent history of the city, and the greatest battle ever to take place there. Prior to the start of the Battle of Twilight Gap, Queen Marisov of the Reef intercepted the House of Wolves, who were on their way to Earth. This prevented the House of Wolves from taking part in the battle, and culminated in the Reef Wars. The remaining fallen houses, led by the House of Devils, united on the perimeter of the city. Walkers exchanged artillery fire with the city's gun positions. One such gun position became overrun by Fallen, and many Guardians died holding the line. As the tide of the battle turned in favor of the city, some Guardians pushed forward to counterattack, led by Lord Shaxx. In the aftermath, most of the outer sections of the city were abandoned and converted into fortifications. Following the battle, Lord Shaxx petitions the Vanguard to set up the Crucible as a training ground for Guardians so that the city would be better prepared for any future attacks. One of the first areas that's dedicated for use in the Crucible was the gun position that had been overrun by the Fallen. The arena was named Twilight Gap in honor of the battle. Walker.
Wait, no.
Walkers, you don't want me to read that?
No, it's okay. Sorry about that. Mike, do you mind reading the Twilight Gap Grimoire card and then the Frontier, and then we'll just talk about everything?
Sure. So this is the Twilight Gap map, Crucible map, one of the first maps released into Destiny. This quote is starting off the card. Here we fight for the memory of those who stood. Here we die for the glory of the light that never fades. Arena designation Twilight Gap. Location City Perimeter, Earth. Named for the city's greatest battle, this defensive battery once held the front line against the combined might of the fallen houses. Overrun during the course of the invasion, many Guardians lost their lives to hold the line. That the Crucible now claims as hallowed ground is seen as a privilege, a rite of passage, as new generations of Guardians stand and fight where the brave fell, heroes rose, and legends were born. And then moving down to the Frontier card, this is another one of the Crucible maps. It was released at the Taken King. Reading designation Frontier. Location City Perimeter, Earth. This lookout station at the edge of the city's borders was decommissioned in the face of increasing Fallen attacks shortly before the Battle of Twilight Gap. Refitting of the station post-battle was mothballed when Lord Shaxx found that, amongst the dirt, dust, and rustling metal, the station was primed for live fire exercises. The runway layout of the Frontier station makes it a perfect course to train for the rising craze of rift-based assault.
All right. Thank you. So, Purple, just tell us a little bit about what happened at Twilight Gap. We just read the summary and we read the city age. So, what actually happened at Twilight Gap? Your version, I guess.
My
I
version.
should say.
Yeah. Well, basically, the Fallen decided to attack the city under the Traveler, and the city fought back. And this is kind of a unique position for the Fallen to be in because, for the most part, they stay within their own houses. They don't unite across houses. So the fact that they banded together to fight us is pretty significant. And pretty much the reason that we won that war, or that battle, I should say, is because of the Queen stopping the House of Wolves, which we all know about, obviously, how that turned out for her. But yeah, most of the things that happened in Twilight Gap, we don't know as far as the actual on the ground field reports or anything like that. We know that Shaxx and Saladin had a falling out afterwards, which is why they don't talk to each other anymore. If you didn't know that, which I find funny because they live in the same building.
Did you mean Zavala? You said Saladin.
No, Saladin.
No. Yeah, it
So
is. Saladin.
Shaxx and Saladin
Yeah.
live in the same building?
Well, I mean, Saladin obviously has moved to
Felwinter
Peak.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so this is basically how it went. Saladin used to be the Vanguard commander, and Shaxx was his understudy, I guess. That's not the right word. Protege.
Apprentice.
Yeah,
Is that
apprentice, protege,
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, Saladin was training Shaxx to take his place as Vanguard commander. And then at the Battle of Twilight Gap, Shaxx decided that he would like they were defending, and Shaxx came up with the idea to push, right? Which is always risky, to go on the offensive when you are playing defense. It could be awesome, it could be terrible, but he convinced everyone to let him do this, and he went forward and won. And to quote Cade, everyone likes a bad idea when it works, right? And it was obviously successful, and ended up essentially winning the battle for them, and so everything was awesome. But Saladin apparently was not happy about it. He didn't like the bad idea, even though it worked. So he and Shaxx had a falling out, and Zavala ended up taking the position of Vanguard Commander, as we know. And Shaxx and Saladin don't talk to each other anymore. And Zavala kind of plays very careful moderator between the two of them. It's kind of interesting when you get into the Crucible, because technically Iron Banner is part of the Crucible, but in reality, Saladin does his own thing with Iron Banner.
Yeah.
So, and Shaxx doesn't really have anything to do with it. So it's kind of an interesting situation between the three of them, and I don't know if it's ever going to get brought up in game. This entire story is pretty much only in the Grimoire cards. So I hope it gets brought into the game one day, because it'd be really cool.
I do too. I think they should have found a way to put it inside Rise of Iron, right? I think it was perfect for them to include that inside Rise of Iron. It was just like, tell us the story behind it, or just something like a Crucible quest or something. I don't know. Just
and it's interesting that he is called Lord Shaxx, because only Saladin and Shaxx are the only guardians that we interact with that are called Lord or Lady. There aren't any ladies, actually.
Aphrodite, right?
Well, that's true. Aphrodite, yeah. But she comes and goes now instead, which is a whole other thing. So my assumption is don't do it.
Don't do it, Chimera, please don't. Not tonight.
Anyway, my personal theory is that he's called Lord Shaxx because of that apprenticeship that he was having with Saladin. But we don't really know. That's total speculation on my part.
Yeah. So
No.
it's so. Oh, sorry to cut you off, Plasmic, but
You're fine. It was a question.
I was just gonna say. So you guys said that Osiris was present at Six Fronts. Can you tell me his role at Six Fronts? Because it said that the Titans were the ones in the battles. What was Osiris doing at Six Fronts? Either Mike or Purple, whoever wants to take this up.
Well, most of the Guardians at this point were Titans. They made up a majority of the city's forces. There were warlocks at this point. There's some people that think that Osiris had a little more of a sinister purpose for engaging in the battle, but he was there to help defend the city. This is before he became Warlock Vanguard and became very interested in the nature of the darkness. So I really do think he was just there to defend the city. Although I'm sure Chimera disagrees with me.
Well, not necessarily. So I'm not going to get too much into Osiris because I could talk for several hours just about him, as well most people could. But yes. Osiris was very good friends with Saint 14, and Saint 14 obviously being a Titan. Osiris fought alongside the Titans. Saint 14 is the guardian who recommended him to become Vanguard Commander. So they were obviously pretty close. It is said that Osiris spent a lot of time, and I can't remember, in Radiance during the Battle of Six Fronts. I can't remember the exact quote off the top of my head, but there are references to like people thinking that he was in multiple places at once, that he never had a shadow, that that he was just bright and burning all the time. So it kind of gives the impression that he was like always in Radiance, always traveling this way, that way, blinking everywhere, being in multiple places at once, which kind of reminds you of the Vex.
Yeah.
Which he studied a lot. So that's their main role. Now, the Battle of Six Fronts was a Titan fight for the most part, but really Twilight Gap was too. These are both defensive. The Guardians have the defensive role here. The city is being attacked, so of course the Titans are going to be up front, right? That's what they're there for. They are defending the city. They make the wall. So these are mostly Titan battles, but that doesn't mean that Hunters and Warlocks didn't participate. They would just be doing other things, flanking. The Warlocks were probably mostly doing research. Obviously, Osiris was not. He was on the ground doing battles, but this wasn't just a Titan battle. Fun side note about Six Fronts: if you didn't notice this, if you look at the Titan symbol, it's like that kind of hexagon with an X in the middle.
Yes.
That's actually developed from the Battle of Six Fronts, because there were 4 Titan orders, or Titan guards, that defended the 6 fronts of the city. So if you look at the symbol, there are 4 kind of wedges, and those represent the 4 guards representing this, defending the 6 fronts, which is the outside of the symbol. And this is not really as much in game, but if you have the Destiny art book, or you can probably look a picture up online, the original design for the Titan class was a banner that had that kind of block, that symbol, the Titan symbol, in a whole bunch of stacks, as if it made a wall, like they were building a wall out of that symbol. So kind of cool.
I actually did not know that. Thank you. Oh, I love the lore in this game.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's everywhere.
Yeah. I just want to bring up a quote before we move on to Plasmic. But that quote for the mark of the defender, it says, at Six Fronts, defending the wall was not enough. Titans had to become a wall. I just love that quote a lot. Like, I don't know. I just love that quote. I just had to bring that up. Plasmic, your question that you had?
I can't remember. It was a while ago. I can't remember now.
I'm sorry.
I remember the last thing I was gonna say when I heard that Osiris was in Radiance and teleporting. I was gonna be like, "Oh,
Sure.
he's a sun singer that can blink." I was gonna be like, "Oh, that's great." He used to teach everybody else that.
Yes.
God, no. Please, no. Please, no.
Blinking sun singer. Why can't sun singers blink? That's a question now.
That is a good question.
Please, no. Just think
Also-
about how unbalanced that would be.
Wait, hold on. This is
Self-res,
something that I've
blink.
always had a question about. Warlocks know how to resurrect themselves from the dead without the help of their ghost. How come they didn't teach any hunters or titans? Like, is that not a useful? They are all able to tap into solar abilities. So why don't they tell anybody else about it?
That's a really good
That's just
question.
my question.
Warlocks like secrets.
Yeah.
That's all
That's
I got.
true.
I've noticed.
I mean, now I will say this about Osiris. There are, like I mentioned with Twilight Gaps, the same with Six Fronts. We don't have any reports that we can read about like what actually happened on the ground, besides big sweeping things. But Osiris really liked studying the nature of the darkness, and especially the Vex. That's kind of where he got started. So it's possible, and some people theorize, that the reason he seemed to be blinking is not that he was actually blinking, like using the ability that we call blink, but in fact that he was jumping from timeline to timeline, and that's why he seemed to be everywhere at once.
Whoa.
That's true. That would be incredibly amazing, and this is why Osiris is my favorite lore character, aside from Dr. Shim.
I could do a whole podcast on Dr. Shim.
Yes.
Another time.
I just want to say, like, Osiris is a great character, but I just wish we knew more about him in game. It's just something like we have the Trials of Osiris, cool, but I just want to know more about him because he's so fascinating. Him and Toland, put them together in a game.
So
It was awesome.
there's a great
Yeah.
website called ishtar-collective.net. If you go there,
Yes, I've actually been exploring that website. Awesome.
Yeah, you can read all the grimoire, and Baxter, who started the website, and I wrote summaries for all the categories. We organized the grimoire by category. So, for example, you can go and click on the Osiris category, and there are several paragraphs at the beginning that is our summary of who Osiris is, and then there are footnotes, and you can read all the grimoire that reference him. So it's a great place to start. And, it's funny, when I started playing Destiny, I had the same feeling a lot of people had, which is like, oh, this is a cool story. I have like 4,000 questions. I wish there was more story to this game. And then, and since I'm a terrible video game player, I had like, 10 grimoire cards. So I couldn't read them. And that's how I ended up finding the Ishtar Collective website, because I was like, I want to read these grimoire cards, but I don't have them unlocked. So how am I going to read them? And Baxter, bless him, crawled the Venji API and pulled all the grimoire cards. So now I don't have to unlock them. I can just go on the website and read them. And that's true. They're just there. You read them, and you can make these great connections. And they have all the items. So you can get all these quotes, and a lot of things. There's so much in these quotes. You read the Mark of the Defender quote earlier. They're so great. The writers of Bungie are so great, and you can make all these crazy connections just from like these 1 and 2 lines on some random item. A lot of blue items have really great lines.
Yes. I just want to say thank you for the Ishtar Collective. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. One of my personal favorite quotes from a blue one is the old Titan mark. I can't remember what it says exactly, but I do know I remember what it said. Sometimes I wish my ghost hadn't chosen me. That's what that said. And I was like, phew. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because Guardians, there's already, theories of Guardians being, secretly evil, but that right there was like, whoa.
Yeah, and it brings up, there's so many questions of like, what do ghosts look for? We know that our ghost was searching for us for a long time, and he thought that he would never find us. So, what are they looking for? We know he tried to res somebody else, and that person said no. So, like, what does it mean? Like,
wait, really?
You're gonna fight the darkness?
I know that.
I'm not feeling it.
So with the Taken King, they put in these like ghost scams, and they're just kind of random places. And if you go there, if you run into one when you're on a strike or doing a mission or whatever, it'll just say like ghost scan, and you scan it, and your ghost like says some stuff about whatever it is that you scanned, and they say all kinds of weird things, and I think we have most of them transcribed on Ishtar. We have a new-ish section where we're trying to transcribe all of the missions so that we can use the information and the dialogue that's in the missions as references in our categories too, because there is lore in the story. You just don't know it if you only play the missions. You have to read all the grimoire to understand that it's significant.
Yeah. All right. So, Plasmic, any more questions you have about Six Fronts?
No, not right now. Not currently. Not that we can discuss in this podcast within a reasonable time.
All right. So, Twilight Gap. So, I guess this is a new question. I know I'm probably gonna get some hate for this. So, the map we play on in the Crucible is where Twilight Gap happened, the whole battle and everything, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. That has been on my mind for a while now while I was putting this together. So, yeah. So, Twilight Gap, Plasmic. You want to take it away? Do you have any questions or anything? Speculate.
Start reading now. Twilight Gap. Here we fight for the memory of those who stood. Here we die for the glory of the light that never fades. Wait a second. Mike actually read this.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask you if you have any questions about Twilight Gap.
No, I don't have any questions. Why'd you ask me to read?
No, I just thought take it away as... Never mind.
He was asking you if you had any questions.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any questions.
So Twilight Gap is where the Gjallarhorn was created, correct? Well, it was not. Well, I'm not gonna say created, but it was
It was
what's the word?
forged from
Forged, there we go.
scraps. It was
Yeah.
forged from scraps from the battle in memory of those who fell.
So I do want to bring up the Hunter Cloak. It's not even a Hunter Cloak; it's a Titan Cloak. The Mark of an Exile. Though the city won a great battle at Twilight Gap, it lost an even greater mind. And this is from Sister Lupe or whatever, however you want to say that. So so she's clearly talking about Osiris, right?
That's the
Or no?
assumption, yes.
Yeah.
I would think, yeah, that's a pretty reasonable conclusion. The only people we know of that are referred to as sister and or brother are Brother Vance, right? From the Cult of Osiris. So I would think that's a pretty reasonable conclusion.
So what does she mean about we lost an even greater mind? Because Osiris did not die at Twilight Gap or was lost at Twilight Gap. Because he was.
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
Yeah. So who was gone? Was she talking about the Traveler? Maybe. Well, no.
Well,
'Cause-
no.
No. Yeah.
So-
Why would I? Okay.
Personal theory. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what
Go
she's
for
talking
it.
about. But
Yeah.
my personal theory is that she's not talking about literally losing someone, like having someone die, but she's actually talking about a mind, that someone has gone crazy, like they've lost their mind. So my theory
Oh.
is that this is the turning point for Osiris. We don't know when he started studying the Vex. I think it was before Twilight Gap, but he was just doing research. We study our enemies. That's what people do, right? When you're fighting a war, when you're in the military, that's what you do. You study your enemies so that you can win when you encounter them. That's not unreasonable. But something happened at Twilight Gap that caused him to go one step beyond just research for the purpose of winning. And that's when he went crazy and lost his mind, and that's when all the things started spiraling out of control, and then he left or was exiled. We don't really know, but I think that's what started it.
Because he was exiled from the speaker, correct? He was exiled
Right.
from the city.
So the city's the tower's official stance, tower and speaker, is that Osiris was exiled. If you read Osiris's grimoire card, possibly that's not exactly how it went down.
Yeah.
It's possible that Osiris and the speaker had a falling out, and Osiris left, and then after Osiris left, the speaker was like, well, I exiled him because he was crazy and dangerous. Clearly, I am here to protect you. That's what happened.
Yeah.
But we don't really know. This is
Maybe he
something
found
that happened
out-
in private.
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe he found out who the speaker really is, because he hasn't spoken to us in what, a year,
Well,
right?
part of that is because of the voice actor.
True. Yeah, but still,
Question.
Yeah.
go for
I'm
it.
sorry if I made it. The Osiris was the pupil of the speaker, correct?
Yes, Osiris and the speaker
Yeah.
were very close.
Yeah, so it would stand to reason that oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. It was right as someone said something, I had an entire web of thoughts, and then started talking, and I lost it all. But
Write
yes, it
them
would stand to
down.
reason, because I did read the Osiris Grim card. It would stand to reason that because I remember the Osiris, he started to reject the teachings of the teacher. I mean, of the speaker, instead of going along with it. At some point in time, he was just like, "Yeah, I don't agree with this anymore." And, them spending so much time together, it's more than likely that he did just walk out and was just like, "Yeah, I'm done. I don't
Yeah,
want this," and then just
at
left.
some point it turned from having a civil disagreement to having fundamental differences in belief structure and what's right, and that's when they broke apart. The thing that you have to remember about the speaker and even the Vanguard is whatever your feelings are about them, they are a political system, right? They have to play the politics game. So everything that the speaker says, anything that the Vanguard says in an official capacity is playing the politics game. Everything has to be worded exactly such a way, it's very scripted. I mean, think about how politics in real life. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And so anything that happens, the speaker has to make a statement about it, just like the president has to make a statement about things that happen, right? And so when Osiris left, for some reason, the speaker decided to say that he was exiled and, that he's dangerous and all that. Whether that's true, whether that's how it actually went down in the room, probably not. My personal opinion is that they got in a really big fight, and then Osiris was like, fine, F off, I'm leaving. And the speaker was like, fine, I exile you. Same
Like an
result,
angry
either
boss.
way.
No, you can't quit. You're fired.
Exactly, just like that.
I just wanted to go back to the chain of command that you said. When I think of the speaker in the Vanguard, I think of like the speaker could be like the president, and then the Vanguard could be like Congress maybe, and then the factions are like the parties, the different parties, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's similar to that. It's more like the Vanguard and the factions make up two different parts of Congress. I mean, it's
Okay.
not an exact metaphor because
I know, yeah. It
but
was just an
you're
example.
right. The speaker is definitely like the executive branch, and the Vanguard and the factions have a role. So this collectively is called the consensus, and they vote everything together, and they do have meetings where the Vanguard and the faction leaders, faction reps, all talk together and decide things. So they are supposed to work together. It doesn't always work out, but we know that it's true in real life as well. So at least Bungie's being accurate with that part.
Yeah. In the future, I see them expanding on Six Fronts and Twilight Gap, maybe telling us more, giving us a cutscene maybe, not in Destiny 1, like the current game we have now, but in the sequel or later down the line somewhere. Because they have great lore right now.
And
They
we've
just need to
been
expand.
back, aside from the Crucible map, we actually did go back to Twilight Gap in the...
Yes. I knew I was forgetting something to say. It was for No Time to Explain. Right?
Was it? No, it was. You have to go get Anna Bray's bracelet.
no.
Wasn't that the
No
hunter?
Time to
It was a weapon, I believe, that you did have to
It
go.
was-
I think it was the No Time.
It was No Time
Explain.
to Explain. I
Okay.
Because you had to go
Yeah.
back to Twilight Gap. You had to find this like box, and you were like slowly going blind while you were on Twilight Gap.
Yeah, that you
And
have
then
to
you have
find
to go
Anna Bray's
back,
bracelet.
yeah. So I just have a quick question. Anna Bray is related to Cloveless Bray, but Anna Bray was a guardian, right?
Yeah, that's a very good catch. Yes. So,
Okay.
well, Anna Bray was a guardian. She was I almost called her a golden gun. So she was a hunter. We don't know why she was called Anna Bray. It is implied that guardians choose their own names through one grimoire card that came out in Rise of Iron with the Iron Lords. Lady Scory, who is who wrote the Iron Song, she was kind of like a bard type character. She goes on a rant when she's trying to write her Iron Song that they picked the wrong names, that their names are not an iambic pentameter, and it makes it very difficult to write a song about them. So from that little line, we know that at least the Iron Lords chose their names, chose what they were called. So that kind of is like, well, we could draw the same conclusion about us, that whatever we're called, we chose ourselves. Which, I mean, what else are we going to call ourselves? We don't remember what we were before we died the first time. So why she's called Anna Bray, I don't know. some people think that she was found, like that her ghost found her near the Clovis Bray facility, and so she just picked that name because that's where she was found. Some people think that she saw a picture of Anna Bray, member of the Bray family, and saw that it was herself. And so that's how she named herself that. We really have no idea.
Wow, I actually did not know that. I thought that was actually Anna Bray.
It could be. I mean, it could be that that's
it could be
the original Anna Bray, and that she just, saw a picture of herself in the Clovis facility somewhere and was like, "Hey, look, that's me. I'm obviously that person." But we have no idea.
Oh, so much lore. I want to know more.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, Plasmic, any questions before I ask a final question before we sign off?
Nope, I'm fine.
All right, guys. So, do you have one lasting question for you guys? Might spark another big discussion, but we'll see. Do you guys think in Destiny 2 or in the sequel, whatever it's going to be called, do you guys think the city will be destroyed? I want to start off with Plasmic.
Actually, I'm not going to comment on that because I'm still not sure. That the answer to that question lies in what Bungie's going to do for the beginning of the sequel, or for the sequel of Destiny 2. I don't know if my Guardian's going to die. I don't know if my Guardian's going to be the same Guardian, but the tower is destroyed. So I don't know.
I'm asking you to predict on everything that we know so far.
I can't predict because Bungie is so left baller with everything. If they don't want you to know something, you're not gonna know. Bungie's very good at being quiet. they like to keep things close to their hearts. They won't tell you anything. And I don't know. They haven't heard anything remotely close to the sequel about anything, so I don't want to go off on there because I would like to personally keep my Guardian. All right, we've killed gods, multiple gods, god slayers, and we've become Iron Lords, and we have honored them and then taken their artifacts and their weapons. My Guardian's been through a lot of stuff, so I would hate to see my Guardian go unless they gave it a proper send off.
I'm not asking for your Guardian to go away or anything. I'm just saying from a lore perspective, do you think the city will be destroyed? Let's say you keep your Guardian and everything, but do you see the Cabal making an attack on the city, or the Fallen Houses? Whoa, or the Fallen Houses grouping up to make an attack on the city, or just anything? The Vex, Osiris, Toland, just something happening.
Just to see that happen suddenly. I definitely don't see the Hive doing it. The Vex are busy doing Vex things. They probably got better things to do. If the Vex were going to do that, if they were going to attack the city, I feel like they would have done it a long time ago if it actually mattered to them, because we all know how OP the Vex are. If they wanted to, they felt like it would benefit them in some way, I feel like they would have done it already, so I don't count them as doing it, because to the Vex, honestly, we're nothing. They exist within multiple dimensions and timelines. They don't really care. So I don't see the Vex.
They need us though.
That must be time for another topic. So I don't want to ask questions about that. But the Cabal, they are military in structure, but they just got wrecked by the Taken. So I don't see them.
They're clearly coming for us, Plasmic. They're clearly coming for us right now.
I don't mess with the Cabal. I don't mess with the Cabal lore because to me they're the most boring type of enemy. To me, I don't like the Cabal at all. I find them to be completely uninteresting. But they just got wrecked by the Taken a year ago, so I don't see them coming back to do anything yet. And then we killed their top commanders. So yeah, they got wrecked by the Taken. Then we killed their top commanders. So yeah, they're probably coming after us, but whether they have the structure or the military power to do so was another question. So I don't see what enemy type will be coming after us. Besides the Fallen. The Fallen tried it once before, and the Queen is dead, so the Wolves might try to rebel once again.
Whoa, don't make assumptions now. She's not dead.
For all intents and purposes, she's not here, so to the House of Wolves, she might as well be dead. So they might try to rebel again. So an attack from the Fallen may work, so that would be the only way I could see the tower having any major conflict with an enemy type that we currently have that isn't
or
Spicers.
House of Kings. We don't know anything about House of Kings. We haven't killed their servitor or their what is it called? Purple, their prime.
Their you mean like their
Archon.
Prime server or their Archon?
Yeah. We haven't killed any of theirs, so their whole house is still intact. Correct? They're still good, right?
I'm not
Um,
sure.
I know we killed a
yeah.
few of their knights. I said knights. What is it called? Captains.
Captains.
Captains and Barons.
Yeah, it was in during House of Wolves, I believe. We killed. So I see that. I don't know. I just feel like the tower is going to be destroyed. Everything, because I just see it happening. The travelers here, everything is here for the Guardian. I just see us going out with Lady Aphrodite, going to wherever she is, or maybe Osiris comes back and attack. We go off with him. Tolan. I just see something happening to the last city, to the last safe, quote unquote, safe city. So that's my thoughts. Purple.
Well, so my theory on this gets a little bit meta, but
Okay.
I think that Bungie really wants to kind of like start over when as far as like the having weapons, they've done a pretty good job of gating like weapons from expansion to expansion, except now that we have infusible stuff, so they kind of as far as being able to reset the weapon balancing and things like that, they kind of messed up there if they wanted to just kind of etch a sketch and start over. And the best way to do that from a story perspective is to blow up the tower. Because if you blow up the tower, that's where all our stuff is. We don't have our stuff anymore. So if that's what they want to do, attacking the city, maybe not the whole city getting destroyed, but certainly the tower getting destroyed would be a really easy way to get around that from a lore perspective, and then be able to kind of rewrite the base of the game as far as like weapon balancing and things, because they can start over. They don't have to take into account anything, and it would be a way for us to bring our guardians forward, your character forward without any of the stuff that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys listen to Crucible Radio, but
I do. Yeah.
Bones had a really great story about what he wrote a little story about what he thinks is going to happen at the kind of end of Destiny 1, beginning of Destiny 2. That's essentially this idea that the tower gets attacked, and we all the Guardians just have to run. We don't have anything, and it was kind of like a way to start over. So it's a great story. If you haven't listened to it, you totally should.
All right.
But that's kind of my thoughts on it.
All right. So, thank you, Purple. That was a lot of lore today. Great episode, guys. Loved it.
Welcome. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. All right, Purple. So I know Mike left, but we'll start off with you. Where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Purple Chimera, and you can find my summaries on ishtar-collective.net. And I'm on the new Ishtar podcast, and also on the Destiny Lorecast podcast, which you can find on Twitter at Destiny Lorecast.
Sweet. Plasmic.
You can find me at Twitch at Plasmic_Leaf, and you can also find me at Twitter at PlasmicLeaf.
All right, sweet. So you guys can find me, Jay, on Twitch at twitch.tv/JAYMCBOI123. You guys can find Destiny Tracker YouTube at Destiny Track. You guys can find me on Twitter at MLG_gaming 2015. Also, you guys can find me on Xbox One, same thing as my Twitch. And you guys can find the Destiny Tracker on Twitter at Destiny Track. All right, guys. So, again, please do not forget to rate and review us on iTunes. Your feedback is very important to us. So, again, my name is Jay. Thank you for listening to the 8th episode of the Destiny Tracker podcast. And we will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.